Subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Hello everybody and welcome to Daydreamers with Himika. Now whenever we talk about India, we talk about diverse economies, diverse people and basically a very diverse nation. The unfortunate part of this diversity however is that diseases are diverse and calamities too are, and they don't see your income bracket before they knock into your house. The fortunate part is people are willing to help if you ask them, and today with us we have Zaheer Adenwala, the co-founder of Ketto, one of India's most popular online crowdfunding platform where people can go and ask for funding, and he's going to tell us more about it today. Zaheer, welcome to Daydreamers with Himika.
Thank you, Himika. Thank you so much for having me here.
Lovely. Now, Zaheer, I have a very interesting question to ask you based on a news that we read some time back that in the year 2020, amidst a very global pandemic which has affected India at a very large scale, you still managed to raise 109 crores. Not just that, in the year December 2020, you also mentioned that you are doubling your headcount. So, finding capability in between a crisis, how has Ketto managed to do that?
Sure. So, Himika, one of the unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know how to put it, but one of the things that happens with a platform like Ketto is when there is a calamity, platforms like ours, the awareness increases significantly. And because of awareness increasing, people realize that, they can take matters in their own hand. Uh, Typically, if you had to wind the clocks back to maybe like 6 years, 7 years back, uh, every time there was a calamity, people were only completely reliant on non-profits and such organizations to do the right thing. However, with crowdfunding, with the advent of crowdfunding over the last 6 7 years, what has ended up happening is people have realized that they can take matters in their own hand. A, B, also if people are willing to just give and ensure that their money is going to the right causes, because we have such a large selection or a large number of people and organizations who are raising money on the platform, it becomes very easy for decision makers who are just simply wanting to give in terms of a monetary donation to be able to help as well. So I feel what in terms of position, I think we were positioned well because as you mentioned, we have one of the largest platforms in India, from a brand perspective, from a channel partners perspective, etc. We also have very strong relationships with not only our individual donors and people who raise money on the platform, but also organizations. So when the pandemic hit, and unfortunately there were a lot of sections of society who were very very severely affected, um, we thought it was our responsibility to put ourselves forward to spread the word and get people to come and realize that platforms like ours, also our peers, they can be used in times of need so that the needy can actually get the help that they need. And of course, because India is digitally completely enabled now, people, I think, the shift in donating online versus donating offline is not as big as it would have been maybe a few years back. So that makes it seamless for people to come online, transact, donate, share, and get more people to get involved in causes that they believe in. Where our headcount had to increase because obviously we were seeing a lot more people come to our platform to raise money, because of which we obviously needed a lot more people to be able to service all the extra demand that our platform was generating. So yeah, so we are that's the kind of zone we are in right now, where we've been able to. So you mentioned about the numbers last time, which was about 109 crores during the first wave of the pandemic. More recently, India and us, we are going through a even worse second wave than what we had experienced in the first wave. And this time, we've even managed to help more, do better, and I think we are close to about 250 crores this time, during the second wave of the pandemic.
So that confirms that India is quite a giving society, ready to help each other.
Absolutely. I don't think we had to wait for COVID to kind of validate that hypothesis. We've been in existence since 2012, and even pre-COVID, if you look at the number of people that come forward to help every month, every year, the number is staggering. So yeah, so a lot of us would think we as Indians are not as giving. I think if you look at platforms like us, your opinion will completely change about that.
Glad to hear that. That's very good news coming in these difficult times. Um, Zahir, my next question would be about the platform per se. See, I believe that before you started or thought about launching Ketto, you must be at a. Although I understand that it is not a non-profit organization, not-for-profit organization, but still, it's a well-paying job, everything's settled, and then going and launching a startup which enables help to other people. It is not really a chalo chalo paisa banate hai kind of a startup. It is a lot more than that. How did this idea come onto the table? And then the next steps from inception to raising funds to bringing the idea to the table to the setting up of the company to marketing it. There are so many parts to it. So, can you tell me about the journey?
Sure, absolutely. So, first and foremost, we were lucky. We were much younger then. We started 9 years back. So, while so we are three founders: Varun, who's our CEO; Kunal Kapoor, the actor; and myself. Um, so yeah, so obviously we were much younger there. If we had to take this decision in today's day and age with the kind of responsibility that we have, it would be a very, very different thought process to make this decision. But having said that, what happened was that when we started discussing this idea, and like many other ideas, we started looking out west because North America as the geography typically moves faster with certain in certain industries, in certain functions, etc. And we had seen the advent of a few platforms coming up over there, and the kind of traction and the kind of momentum that they were gaining. And when we were, obviously you cannot just simply copy whatever is happening there. But when you look at an idea or a thought and you apply it to a country like India, because uh, unlike certain services industries like food delivery or cab hailing, etc., when it comes to donations, there's a very different mindset that people in India. Not it's actually difficult to even generalize India. Where I would say even in India, you could break it down into 20 different segments of people about how they feel about donating or giving back. So when we started trying to apply that idea to India, one thing was certain that from a cause perspective, or what we call as a demand for people who need money, we definitely have a very, very large population. Uh, However, the question mark was always about what we discussed is whether he can convince people to give to the needy. And our hypothesis then was that if we could make this entire giving process um, easy, very transparent, and build the kind of trust that we have today with our donors, we had a hypothesis that yes, people in India will behave or react in the same way that people in the West are when it comes to giving money. And so that's the hypothesis that we had. We were very, very sure. I myself personally come from a technology background, so I love anything when it comes to building products, building especially the marriage that in with Ketto is the technology that also gets married to the social impact. So I feel that was something that was very, very motivating for us, and that's how we embarked on the journey. To be very honest, we didn't think about it too much. We did our basic understanding, we did our market research, and we genuinely believe that there is a value in this, because trust and transparency are two things. Cost also was a very big factor then, because non-profits at that point of time were working with agencies, fundraising agencies, offline agencies who are helping them raise money. And obviously anything offline is associated with very high costs. So if we had to move this entire process digitally, we were able to significantly bring down the cost of fundraising also, that these companies had. So that's how we started. From a initially, obviously, it was Varun, I, and Kunal. So we were wearing all the hats that are required to run an organization, because we were doing tech, we were doing content, we were doing marketing, we were doing everything. Um, so yeah, initially we were lucky enough to have the support of certain non-profits who were forward thinking then, and kind of accept that maybe the future in India also has to be digital, right? It cannot be functioning the same way they have been traditionally over so many years. So we had a few early adopters without whom we couldn't have kickstarted our project. So we started working with them. We started reaching out to people. We leveraged social media a lot to be able to reach out to a large audience to come and give. And we started seeing traction where people were interested in coming and giving. Obviously, the experience was very poor. Everything was at a very nascent stage, right? So that's how a startup would start. So that's how we started. We built some traction. We built some unit metrics enough to take it to a team of investors, saying that we proved the hypothesis that India is willing to give. Um, we proved our hypothesis that obviously demand exists and we'll be able to tap the demand. So we raised our first round of seed investment or angel investment in 2013 December, and that's when me, Varun, and we quit our full time jobs, and we realized that now if we have to really scale this forward, um, we need to do this. We need to do Ketto only full time, and that's how we got started. And we started building a team. We had a 5-member team by I think mid 2014, and then dhire dhire, obviously traction started building. More and more people started understanding the value that crowdfunding can bring. And we were still working with mostly non-profits then, because individual fundraising as a concept was absolutely alien in India. Uh, and one thing led to another. We raised another seed round in 2015, uh, through which we expanded our team further. And through events like the Nepal earthquake, the Chennai floods, the Kashmir floods, etc., I think we started generating a lot of inbound inquiries around people saying that why should we be able to raise money or on behalf of a non-profit, or we should be able to donate money only to a non-profit. What if we have certain other entities that we believe should be given money so that they can also do great work? And a lot of people said that we want to ourselves raise money so that we can go there and make a difference. And that's when we realized that what, we should open up our platform for anybody to raise money, be it an organization, be it an individual, be it any entity. And that's where the real traction started kicking in, because that's when we realized that the need is very, very, very real, right? Because just to give you an example, um, if people who have domestic help at their house, and if the domestic help needs money for either medical reasons or for educational reasons, you cannot possibly go to a non-profit and say that give me some money for my domestic help and do something. But what people are realizing is that what, we have enough friends and family who would align with a cause like this because it is noble in nature. And the beauty of crowdfunding is that the amounts of money that you need to give is not very large. You can give small amounts, but because so many people come together and give smaller amounts, the impact is very large. So use cases like these started getting generated, and a lot of individuals started raising money on the platform. And by I think 2016-17, the most natural shift in from a demand perspective went into medical causes, because today if you look at India is fundamentally a um, highly uninsured country. Secondly, heavily underinsured country, which means that people who have insurance also have insurance caps up to about 2 lakhs or 3 lakh rupees, right? But if you get diagnosed with something severe in nature, like your cancers or your transplants, then your bills can go up to about, I mean, there is no ceiling, but it can go up to 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, and north of that. So if you are to pay these bills, typically people don't have savings of 20, 25 lakh rupees. That's a lot of money, right? So how do you fulfill such costs or treatment requirements? And that was a very strong fit with crowdfunding, because again the cause is very, very noble in nature. The the urgency is very real, because in most cases money is needed urgently, and because it's very transparent, right? Because when somebody is raising money, you know exactly what is happening with that money. So if somebody is raising money for their friend, for their family, for their colleague, for treatment, you know exactly what's happening. So because of all these factors, the industry kind of veered into that, where as of today about 70% of the money that is raised on our platform is for medical causes, for medical treatment, for medical emergencies, etc. So yeah, that's been our journey. We've grown over the years. Something that we've really maintained, which we maintain till date, is always monitoring our unit metrics. We never wanted to go down the route of lot of startups do, which is when they raise money, they burn money, without keeping a handle on what the unit metrics are. And we were always very mindful of, as you rightly said, we are a social enterprise, but we are a for-profit enterprise. So we were very mindful of the fact that Ketto needs to generate enough revenue to sustain ourselves, to pay salaries, because we also have a team who we pay salaries to, and so we need to sustain ourselves. And I think most of your listeners and most of the people will realize that nothing in the world happens for free. I mean, there is a cost associated for anything that you do, right? So that is something that we were always mindful of, and we never lost sight of those metrics, or those what we call them as our North Star metrics. And I think as long as we maintain them strongly, we were fine with the kind of growth that we were seeing.
Because you mentioned paying salaries, because you also mentioned about Kunal Kapoor being one of the key members, one of the founders. Now here is my question, because we are largely going to talk about celebrity endorsements. Now, I have seen a lot of celebrities endorse your the promotions that you're doing, or how you're getting people together, the fundraisers. Now, what happens largely in this kind of a situation is it is a double-edged sword. Recently, for example, when CureFit was not able to pay a lot of their employees, the first thing that people pointed out to is then why are they burning so much money on so many celebrities coming on their platform? So now it is a tricky place, because you're raising money for people, and still there is celebrity endorsement. Celebrities also ask for some payment. How are you managing that?
So honestly, actually, on a platform like us, we've never ever paid celebrities to do anything. It is purely by their goodwill, by their kind heart, that they have come forward to use a platform like us. Now, and not only us, many celebrities use our peers as well. We've just had more celebrities raising money on our platform by virtue of Kunal being part of the industry, and obviously Kunal's network, kind of being drawn towards Ketto. Um, for us, actually, celebrity involvement has worked very positively, because of the fact that there is no commercial agreement with a celebrity to do anything. The celebrity is doing whatever they are doing completely out of their own goodwill and out of their own judgment. There is no contract, there is no monitoring arrangement, none of that sort. But I will go back to my earlier point about trust and transparency, because a lot of the donation driven business, um, I don't want to generalize it for all the non-profit organizations, but the sentiment around donations was not very positive. A lot of people did feel that, if my money goes to a non-profit, I don't know what is happening with my money. I am doing my bit by giving. Now, whether that money flows forward or flows into somebody's pocket, I don't know, because it is very difficult to bring that level of transparency.
So yeah.
Exactly. So during those times, celebrity endorsements actually went a very long way in helping us build that trust, because a celebrity uh, who is really well respected, established in their own field, and a celebrity doesn't necessarily mean a Bollywood star, right? A celebrity could be an influencer, could be from any domain. It could be from the healthcare domain, it could be from cricket, from sports, anything. But what they bring to the table is that they have their own little brand, they have their own little the kind of image that they've created, and when they align themselves with the cause, they are extremely stringent about the fact that the cause is very legitimate, and the impact that is going to be created is going to be good in nature. Because other than that, if a celebrity would never want to get aligned with anything that could be shady in nature, right? Because that is detrimental to what their original career or path is, whatever. So for us, that has actually worked very positively, because initially we could bring in a lot more credibility to certain causes with celebrity involvement. Like, for example, when Mr. Amitabh Bachchan gets involved with something, not many people then start questioning the credibility of the cause, because they are banking on the credibility of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. In the same way, when we started helping individuals raise money. Now, if Himika is raising money on my platform and Himika reaches out to her friends, her family, and her networks of individuals that she knows, people will not question the cause because they have trust in Himika that Himika will do the right thing. Because for certain sums of money, they would trust that Himika would not do hanky panky because, I mean, come on, the repercussions of that are very, very large. So that the trust building is very important, which is what came into the game. Secondly, I think celebrities have a huge reach today, right? When it comes to being able to reach the number of people. And I feel celebrities have really, really been very helpful in helping us get awareness for a lot of causes. Like even if you look at most recently, I'm sure you must have heard of Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli raising money on the platform. Now, imagine traditionally they would have given money towards a particular cause, right? And Anushka and Virat did make a very big donation themselves as well. But with crowdfunding, what they were able to do was not only leverage the fact that they have created enough wealth to be able to donate towards causes, but because of the kind of star power that they have and the kind of following that they have, why not endorse the fact that we are doing good? How about everyone come together and do some good? And I think that message is very strong, right? Because everyone does good in their own capacity. The beauty of doing good is you cannot put it on a barometer that you are doing more good or I am doing less good. Good is good. Because today, in my own capacity, 100 rupees, me giving 100 rupees might be the same thing as somebody else giving 1 lakh rupees by virtue of what our incomes are, what kind of wealth we have, etc. But the whole concept of doing good remains the same, and that is something that we promote. So for us on the platform, it doesn't matter whether you're giving 100 rupees or you're giving 10,000 rupees. You in your own little way, because we see nobody is judging anybody who's doing good. If everybody in their own way is doing whatever they can, and at the end of the day, it is a sentiment of doing good, the sentiment of giving back is what matters. The amount don't matter, and that really helps us a lot.
So the sentiment of doing good is what we're going to go ahead with on this one.
Absolutely right, because yeah, I mean that's something that we've always wanted to inculcate. And I think if you look at the West also, why people give so much is because for some reason giving in India was considered to be very grave as an activity, or a very like I don't know, like a what soch ke, people used to do. But when there are smaller sums involved, and the cause is very, very clear in nature as to what my money is going to, then it becomes a little more lighter, frequent kind of an activity, which is what we are going for, and which is what we've been able to achieve.
It is very strange, because when I think about it, any culture or any religion that exists in this country specifically has promoted giving so much. If you look back to the books, and in the process, in the transition, that messages were lost somewhere, and it's being revived back in many ways now.
So yeah, I mean, so religious giving will always be the highest in India, right? But um, what we need to
No,
also understand.
what I meant was in any book of religion, the
Absolutely. I
giving
mean,
has been so big.
I think anybody who is preaching anything about like being a I want to be careful with the kind of words that I use, but let's say when you talk about being a socially responsible citizen or a socially responsible human being, there is obviously all of us have a social responsibility towards helping the needy and helping the poor, right? I mean, there is no hard and fast rule that you must do it. I think it should come from your heart, and I think that's how platforms like ours function. So there is nobody is holding you at gunpoint. कि आप अगर नहीं दोगे तो something else will happen to you. Shouldn't be that. But I feel innately we all have that intuition or our gut that we should be doing socially good. I feel platforms like ours, like Ketto, have only acted as an enabler to bring out that emotion from everyone, because then people come and give. So I mean, the kind of numbers that we see on a monthly basis, also the number of people that come and give, is kind of a testament to our hypothesis, and it's a validation to our hypothesis. So yeah, I completely agree with your point. We have been traditionally taught to give back, not necessarily in monetary terms, but even in kind, right? Even in volunteering terms, in any term. giving back is a very large umbrella of giving. Monetary is one of them. There could be in any form. So yeah, that's all coming back now.
Wonderful. You have been in this business for a very long time, of giving. So I want to ask you about some success stories, some milestones, or something that happened which really touches your emotional chord and says that, okay, fine, I'm doing the best that I can do, or this is exactly the path that I see for myself.
So honestly, I think I will talk about that one story, but before that, we face this as a team every day, and I feel something that we, as Ketto employees or part of Ketto, the Ketto team, we all feel very proud about the fact that every day, because every month there are thousands of people who are raising money on our platform, right, for their causes, for their needs, and we receive testimonials, like, and these are inbound, we don't reach out to them again, but we receive thank you letters, thank you notes, thank you messages on our social media handles in whatever form or shape. We receive a lot of messages on a daily basis, which we have a little internal communication channel where whoever has received the message kind of posts it out there, so that everyone in the organization can feel proud about the fact that while we are doing what we are doing, like it's a job. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a job, right? For all of us, we are working at a company, but we are very privileged that we are working in an organization also that has a impact on society and impact on individuals, and the fact that we can touch so many lives. So whenever these messages are received and when they are posted, it's a moment of pride for everyone in the organization, because everyone in their own way is contributing towards the happiness that is being generated outside. So that is fantastic. So we face this on a daily basis, which is our biggest driver and our motivator. But when you talk about one story, this one story always comes to mind, and this was like it was very arbitrary, right? Because of the scale at which things happen now, we don't necessarily know every individual that is raising money on the platform, because at any given point of time there are more than 10,000 people that are raising money. So it's practically impossible to know the story or the background of everyone. But I think this had happened in 2017, where on a regular work day, a gentleman had was waiting outside our office and came into office saying that, you know what, I want to meet somebody from the team because I want to discuss something with them. And at that point of time, I think Varun it was, or maybe somebody from our business team, spent some time with this gentleman. And it turns out that this gentleman had raised money for his daughter, who is maybe 4 or 5 years of age, who was suffering from some very serious life-threatening disease, and he had exhausted all means of being able to get money for the treatment, because the treatment cost was high. Uh, and I think he had obviously exhausted all his savings. He had exhausted all the money that he could, be able to get from his friends, his family, his network, etc. And non-profits also were kind of now putting their hands up, saying, you know what, we cannot fund this treatment for the child anymore. And you know what he said was that he had gone to the railway tracks to actually end his life, because he was like, what is this life if I cannot help my own child get medical treatment? So what am I doing? And he was in such a dire state that he actually had gone to the railway tracks, and by, I don't know, like maybe the inner voice said that maybe he should try something more. And then when he tried to find out more, he found out about crowdfunding, and he raised money on Ketto, and now his daughter is absolutely hale and hearty. And he came to office to actually just share the story. I'm getting goosebumps when I speak about it right now. But he was like, maybe you guys will never know about this if I don't come and tell you this, but this is the kind of impact that you guys have created. And that story is something that has really been stuck with us for such a long time, because it's amazing the kind of number of lives that knowingly or unknowingly we are touching every day, and the number of uh, um people that we are touching every day, and good is happening in the world. And I feel this is not only for Keto, right? I mean, we are doing what we are doing, but for the millions of people who are also donating on our platform, I think this is a great testament to them all, because we are all in this together. We are not in this only as Keto or as individuals. We are all in this together. So I feel the bigger impact that all these these actions, these small actions, right? Because it takes only 5 minutes to donate. And as I said, amount doesn't matter. So it's the bigger impact that this created is so amazing that I think that's what drives more and more people to come back to the platform and give.
That's such a wonderful story. In fact, I think the three words that can summarize Ketto's journey could be intent, ability, and honesty. Wonderful.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
What's the future looking like now for Ketto?
Awareness is growing now. We are getting more and more inquiries around how can people use our platform for raising more and more money, because they are seeing other people in their own networks who have raised money, and that's when then people start adding 2 plus 2 or 1 plus 1, saying that in our hour of need maybe we can also raise money. And people have also come to realize that you need not raise money only for something that is very very close to you in your immediate circle, but people in workspaces are now raising money for their colleagues. People in various other organizations are raising money for their the blue collar workers in their organization, etc., etc. So the whole domain of why you need to raise money and how you can raise money, the awareness is significantly growing. And if I had to talk about numbers in India, I think these statistics are from 2019, but $72 billion was spent out of pocket for medical treatments in India in 2019. And when I say out of pocket, I mean somebody who has not claimed insurance. So there is a lot of money that is going out of pocket, right? And every year, I think the number is close to 25 to 30 million people are being pushed below poverty line because of medical expenses. So their medical bills are so high that they have to literally exhaust all their savings, sell their assets, etc., just to fulfill the medical bills. So these are the numbers that we are talking about. And if you look at where we are at today, we believe that we only scratched the surface of the end potential of what crowdfunding could be. So that's where our future lies. We want to be able to provide a strong chance of medical treatment for every individual in India, no matter how big or how small.
Any global organizations that you really think have done commendable work that you would see Torchbearers of in the crowdfunding?
I mean, there are so many, right? I mean, if I had to talk for a like to like the platforms like us, in the US when we started, we used to love this platform called Crowdrise, which has now got acquired by the biggest platform in the world called GoFundMe, they are doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But outside of this, organizations like your Red Cross, UNICEF, Save the Child, Save the Children, these guys are doing some absolutely fantastic work. Even individual, family organizations like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Azim Premji Foundation, Narayan Murthy in India. I mean, these guys are doing exceptional work. I think we are just a very small enabler in this whole process, where we are enabling people who want to give to people who need money. But I think these guys are doing a far more amazing job than us, because they're not only putting their own money, but they're also executing projects themselves, etc. So yeah, I think the list could be in thousands for the kind of the organizations that are doing such great work.
Zaheer, the people who are going to be watching the interview now, one part, of course, of helping you is raising funds. The other part is if people want to volunteer, want to work with you through the process, not maybe as full-time employees, but as people who come together. Are there ways to do that with Ketto?
Absolutely, yes. Himika, I'm going to share my our company email address with you, where there are a lot of people who reach out to us saying, what we want to. I mean, there are students who reach out to us saying that we don't have any money to help, but tell us how else can we help, because we want to do something. And there are so many things that can be done. So I'm going to share that email address with you, which you can share as part of the link. And we would love for people to reach out to us with whatever queries that they have, in whatever way that they can help us. And I'm sure together we could create more impact.
Wonderful. So that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you so much, Zaheer. And I think India is going to be a little more motivated towards giving once they watch this interview for sure. But thank you so much for your wonderful work with Ketto. And I'm sure we'll enable a lot of people together. when the country
Thank
comes.
you so much for your kind words, Himika. Thank you so much.